Now, to isolate the term on one side of the variable, the easiest thing to do here is to add 5r to both sides. So we have 3r plus 5r subtract 2 is equal to negative 5r plus 5r plus 14. So the left-hand side of the equation simplifies to be 8r subtract 2 is equal to negative 5r plus 5r is 0 plus 14 is equal to 14. So now we have to isolate the term with the variable, and so what we'll do is add 2 to both sides of the equation. And so 8r subtract 2 plus 2 is 8r. And on the right-hand side of the equation, we have 16. We have 8 times r, so we have to use the opposite operation. So we divide both sides by 8. So r is equal to 2. All right, next question. We can add 6p to both sides of the equation. And when we do that, we get 6p plus 6p is 12p. Subtract 7 is equal to negative 6p plus 6p is 0. Subtract 7 is negative 7. 0 subtract 7 is negative 7. Now we're going to add 7 to both sides of the equation. And we end up with 12p is equal to 0. So when we divide both sides by 12, we get p is equal to 0. And if we sub back into the original equation, we get 6 times 0 is 0, subtract 7 is negative 7. On the right-hand side, negative 6 times 0 is 0, subtract 7 is negative 7. So both sides of the equation are equal to negative 7 when you sub in for p equals 0. Now, the easiest way to isolate the term with the variable on both sides, on one side of the equation, is to add 2y to both sides of the equation. And the reason is, over here, we end up with then 5 minus y plus 2y. And I'll write that out. 5 minus y plus 2y is equal to 3. Now subtract 2y plus 2y is 0, so this side simplifies to be 3. Now 5 subtract y plus 2y is just 5 plus y is equal to 3. To isolate the term with the variable, we're going to subtract 5 from both sides, and we end up with y is equal to negative 2. Okay. Over here, easiest thing to do would be to add 2x to both sides of the equation. And you could have added x, but I'm going to add 2x to both sides of the equation. And I'm going to flip this around. So we have 6 subtract x plus 2x. I'm including an extra step here, is equal to 9 subtract 2x plus 2x. Well, the 6 subtract x plus 2x simplifies to be 6 plus 1x, or just x, is equal to 9. Now minus 2x plus 2x is 0, so we've simplified this to be 6 plus x is equal to 9. We subtract 6 from both sides, and we end up with x is equal to 3. Okay. For the next question, I'm going to add, we got minus 5t on the right-hand side of the equation, so I'm going to get rid of the minus 5t over here by adding 5t to both sides. So 3 subtract 2t plus 5t is equal to 5 minus 5t plus 5t. So all I've done is added 5t to both sides of the equation. So now I'm going to simplify. 3 subtract 2t plus 5t is 3 plus 3t. And the right-hand side of the equation simplifies to be 5 minus 5t plus 5t. Well, minus 5t plus 5t is 0, so we've eliminated the term with the variable from the right-hand side of the equation by adding 5t. So now we're going to subtract 3 from both sides of the equation. And we have 3t is equal to 2. We divide both sides by 3, so t is equal to 2/3. For this one, I'm going to add 3p to both sides. You could add p to both sides, that's fine, but 4 minus p plus 3p is equal to 5 minus 3p plus 3p. So all we've done is added 3p to both sides. The left-hand side simplifies to be 4. Now negative p plus 3p is plus 2p is equal to 5. We'll now try and get rid of isolate the term with the variable, so we're going to isolate 2p. So we'll subtract 4 from both sides of the equation. And we're left with 2p is equal to 1. We'll divide both sides by 2, and we get p is equal to 1/2. Now the next one, we have 7 minus 5p is equal to 6 plus p. What I'm going to do here is I could subtract p from both sides, and I think I'll do that. Or the easier way would be to add 5p to both sides. But either way, you're going to get the same answer. So I'm going to subtract p from both sides. And I'll get the same answer as if I added 5p to both sides. So over here we have 7 subtract 5p subtract p. That simplifies to be 7 minus 6p is equal to 6. So now we're going to subtract 6 from both sides of the equation. Subtract 7 from both sides of the equation. So we'll subtract 7 from both sides of the equation. And 7 minus 7 is 0. 0 subtract 6y is negative 6y is equal to 6 minus 7 is negative 1. We divide both sides by negative 6. And we get y is equal to 1/6. And make sure you put it in its simplest terms, because negative divided by a negative is a positive. So the simplest form is 1/6. Just like over here, I could subtract r from both sides, but this time I'm going to add 3r to both sides. And so this is 8 minus 3r, and I'm going to put in plus 3r, is equal to negative 6 plus r, and then plus our 3r. And that says plus 3r. So over here, this is going to end up being 8 is equal to negative 6 plus r plus 3r is going to be negative 6 plus 4r. We'll add 6 to both sides, and you get 4r, because negative 6 plus 6 is 0, plus 4r is 4r, is equal to 14. We divide both sides by 4, and you should express your answer in the simplest form possible, which is 7 over 2. Now for m, first thing I'm going to do is add 6v to both sides, so negative 11 plus 6v plus 6v is equal to negative 6v plus 6v plus 11. The left-hand side simplifies to be negative 11 plus 12v is equal to 0 plus 11 is 11, because negative 6v plus 6v is 0. So we'll add 11 to both sides of the equation. So 12v is equal to 22, and we divide both sides by 12. So v is equal to 11 over 6 in lowest terms, which is our simplest form. So that's 11 over 6. Let me just clean that up. Now here, the easiest way to solve this is by adding 6w to both sides, because negative 8w plus 6w is equal to negative 4 minus 6w plus 6w. And I'll squeeze that in. And this is equal to then, one equal sign per line, so this is negative 2w is equal to negative 4. Divide both sides by negative 2. W is equal to 2.